Welcome to Lesson 2, GOOTS. So what is GOOTS? Get out of the system. Now, you cannot completely get out of the system unless you hop a shuttle with Elon Musk to Mars, but the acronym has value. Get out of the traditional Wall Street bankers, financial models, at least at this time in history, as we are facing an unprecedented series of global gargantuan changes with no real precedents, as we are moving away from the Federal Reserve's fiat funny money debt, from that system to a tangible backed currency, perhaps en route to a stable coin with your wallet, encrypted by Space Force and other technology in the QFS. Wow, talk about the great unknown. We'll sort that out a bit further on in this lesson. So the GOOTS model consists of 4 core financial instruments and another category I will call other, which we will explore further on in the lessons of this masterclass series. It's not business as usual. Therefore, new approaches and new financial partnerships should most definitely be considered. Time is of the essence. We're in a controlled matrix. We are creatures of habit. Change your habits, change your life. One thing we can count on in this universe, for certain, is one thing we can count on. And what is that? It's change. We must be cognizant of the changing world around us and adapt and, more importantly, create from this new level of awareness and from this new perch. Albert Einstein once said that doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is a definition of insanity. Change, then act. Action changes things. Breaking free from the controlled thought, breaking free from the matrix, is going up against the grain. It's going up against the system. As legendary comedian George Carlin once said, that is the last thing that they want. The last thing they want are free critical thinkers. This is something the system is designed in part to prevent you from ever dare becoming. That being a free critical thinker, questioning the narratives, the how, the why, who's behind it, and then verifying the facts. They spoon feed you an agenda, indoctrination through the school system and higher education, and it's everywhere all the time. Between Google's algorithms, social media, and technology giants and the legacy media, the narratives are controlled narratives, created and distributed and embedded into your consciousness on many, many levels. No, they do not want free critical thinkers, but rather obedient workers. They want to create a populace dependent upon the government. They want to create what I call the robotic, hypnotic flock. You know, people who must awaken. All of us, we get up every day at the crack of dawn to hustle off in traffic to a job that people barely tolerate at best for a paycheck that runs out at the end of the month due to low wages, taxes, inflation, and controlled markets and economies. Never mind healthcare costs and the unexpected life events. They return home among the flock in traffic to barely catch up with all other aspects of life and living, which seems to take a back seat. These robotic, hypnotic flock, this is the reality. So again, breaking free from controlled thought, breaking free from the matrix is going up against the grain, going up against the system. Incidentally, last time I checked, if you asked a group of, say, 100 people to raise their hands and ask them if they trust that Wall Street and the banks have Main Street's best interest in mind, not a single hand would go up in the room, and laughter and grunting comments and so forth would undoubtedly pursue. We live in the age where detecting truth from lies in the mainstream news and internet feeds is becoming an increasingly challenging. Then add digital enhancements and AI to further complicate matters when it comes to getting at facts and getting at the truth. We have a recipe for disaster. We live in the age where bankers pay you next to nothing to hold your money, soon to control it with a CBDC, a central bank digital currency. We live and give our money to the banks where FDIC is supposed to provide a sense of security in the event of a banking collapse. But as you do the homework, and I've done it, you will find that FDIC is virtually broke and does not have even 1% insurance for the trillions on deposit to cover in the event of a systemic collapse and run on the banks, which is happening. We live in the age where money is debt created, a fiat currency, controlled, as we learned in the orientation lesson 1, by the Federal Reserve System of fractional reserve lending, eroding the purchasing power of the currency itself, making the American dream more like the American nightmare. And as we've learned in lesson 1, orientation, we are in a battle for currency supremacy and a reset of the entire financial system. It's not business as usual. Don't treat it as such, or there will be a price to pay. Financial advisors that work within the system are part of the system, thus a part of the problem. Many are good people, many are well-intended, many are not. But the bottom line is, unless they are well-informed as to what is really going on between the battle of the resets, you may be ill-advised and more than likely are. I can tell you that from the consulting that I do very few on a monthly basis. Sort of like listening to the mainstream legacy media, also known as fake news, for factual reporting. You wouldn't do that. So let's talk about and introduce the Advisor Scorecard. By the way, this is for free. You go to wealthcoachuniversity.com, scroll around, you'll find a little blue tab. It says Advisor Scorecard. Click on it. It's readable and downloadable. It's also a chapter in my book where I elaborate much further in the new book that I just published on Amazon.com, Global Financial Reset. So let's talk about it. The Advisor Scorecard is a quick and easy way to begin, to chip away, to break away from the controlled matrix of thought. Is to assess, one way to do that is to assess just whom you're following the advice of, and then question it. The Advisor Scorecard is a short but valuable checklist to get you to start thinking outside the controlled matrix of thought that has guided us for our entire lives. Become a critical thinker. Become the CEO of your finances, the CEO of your life. It may be time to assemble a new team. The Advisor Scorecard may help you in this most important cause. That's why it's on the onset of Goots model. Begins there. Remember, your financial advisor has many, perhaps hundreds, if not thousands of clients with which they derive their income from. You are your only client, and incorrect decisions or inaction at this time in history, may be the regret of a lifetime. Let's explore the Advisor Scorecard. So basically, I'm lumping together your insurance agent, your health, life, and annuity guy, your stockbroker, your brokerage firm, your certified financial planner, your financial advisor. All of these titles, we'll just summarize it as your financial advisor. So here's the Advisor Scorecard, 10 quick things for you to do an honest assessment. Does your financial advisor have the number one? Does your financial advisor have the same ideology and political view as you? You might not think that's important, but think that through. It is important. Number two, does your financial advisor understand and follow fiscal, monetary, and changing policy? Yes or no? Is your financial advisor in good standing with the regulatory bodies? I can show you how to get to those bodies, where they are, and direct you so you can check on your own. Number four, gold and silver are the best performing asset class in the world. Have they been discussing and acquiring physical, tangible metals to combat inflation? I mean, after all, gold and silver is up about 50, 60% year to date. It's been growing the number one asset class for 20 years. How much of your portfolio is in physical, tangible gold and silver as advised by your advisor? Number five, is your financial advisor or firm woke? Go woke, go broke. Number six, is your advisor aware of the parallel economies and the global financial reset that we're discussing? That is clearly underway. Do they know about it? Pick their brain. If they do know about it, then ask them what is their strategy to combat it. Number seven, is your portfolio outpacing the current rate of inflation? Yes or no? Number eight, less diversification or trend is your friend. These are different models. Are they discussing why it's important to have less diversification and follow the trends instead at this time in history? Have they discussed this with you? Number 9, do you have adequate liquidity for emergencies and opportunities? Number 10, those preparing for or in retirement. Very important. Does your income plan provide a guaranteed income you cannot outlive? So let's discuss the success and the origins of GOOTS. The orchestrated collapse, the controlled demolition of the United States and global market crash of 2008 and 2009 is when I first began working with the GOOTS model. It worked then, it's working today. The GOOTS model is a simple yet powerful and effective tool to reduce risk, maintain a balance of liquidity, and addresses growth, inflation, and income-producing assets for those who are looking for income, thus providing a most valuable commodity known as peace of mind through this great reset. What is GOOTS? Get out of the system. The GOOTS model consists of 4 core financial instruments and another category I call Other, which we will explore further on in the lessons of this master class. You have to understand it's not business as usual. It's not business as usual. Therefore, new approaches and new financial partnerships should most definitely be considered. Not forever, but for right now. Let's break down the GOOTS model in bucket form. Bucket 1, cash. While cash is king, cash these days is also trash. Cash is trash. Why? Like we discussed earlier on, the US dollar is under global attack, as well as under attack by the Federal Reserve itself by their policy. Many fear the death of the dollar is imminent. If the banks can convert your deposits one weekend while you're going about your life to a central bank digital currency, with potentially implementing something similar to the Chinese credit scoring system, you can see why even something as simple as cash these days is in the line of fire. So what to do? Module 1, cash. Reduce cash holdings through this transition. But to what amount? Well, every situation is different. Some find comfort in 1 to 3 months of cash. We're talking about operating capital. Keep the wheels of life spinning. Well, consider vetting out credit unions, where to put the cash. Do you want the cash in the central bank system that's going to trigger it into a CBDC with social crediting scores and cut you off of your own money? Probably not. So consider vetting out credit unions versus the big 5 central banks and the central banking system. Perhaps T-bills, a good alternative in a money market, but there too is risk there through the transition. We can discuss that in a group coaching or private one-on-one consulting. In my line of mission, focused work at JMC Broadcasting, I interview primarily highly qualified retired military and intelligence people, special ops people, people in the economic area. The unanimous concern from these individuals is to have perhaps 30 days worth of cash at home in the temporary event and likely event of disruption of access. There will be disruptions of sorts. Bucket number 2 in the GOOTS model, precious metals. Both gold and silver, and I'm not talking about mutual funds or the paper proxy or the spiders and iShares and stock, the stock in gold or silver. We cover that extensively later. But in bucket 2, precious metals, both gold and silver, are the critical components of the GOOTS model. It worked back in 2008 through 2011 during that orchestrated collapse, and it is working just the same today. My good friend, a double PhD economist, Dr. Kirk Elliott, produced a report showing 1, 5, 10, and 20 years, comparing the basic major asset classes that we invest in as to performance. He compared stocks to bonds and CDs, real estate, gold, and silver. Well, gold and silver have been and remain so today, from the 1, 5, 10, and 20-year study, the best performing asset classes in the world over the past 20 years, up to and including today. Silver and gold are up 40, 50, 60% today. It's a little fluctuating. You can get the hard number. There is also a tradable market for physical tangible bullion, precious metals. It's liquid and recognizable, even more so than cash itself. Being that this asset class is the core foundation of the Goots model, I will delve into this deeply in lesson number 3, titled Understanding Precious Metals. Yes, buy gold, buy silver for sure, and buy it now, especially at the time of this recording, in a little bit of a needed retraction. But buyer beware. And we'll talk about these things in great detail in future lessons. Bucket number 3 of the Goots model: income producing assets, those close to retirement, preparing for retirement, certainly in retirement. This one's for you. Bonds are common within the current system as an income producing asset because it takes some of the risk out of a stock portfolio, providing interest income. There is growing concern from people in the economic and geopolitical circles, along with analysts and economists the world over, that there may be a significant crash in the debt markets, perhaps emanating from Japan. Folks, this has already been done. A report came in just the other day. $46 billion worth of bonds, municipal bonds, have been reduced to junk status. Defaults are happening. Defaults are coming. You've got municipal, you've got corporate bonds next, and then you've got bonds and bills in the dollar itself. This crisis has emanated from Japan. Japan, China, and others still hold a significant amount of our debt, and this may come crashing in terms of defaults and access to your funds. So what to do? Goots. Get out of the system. There are conversations to be had concerning bond alternatives, with all the pros and cons discussed in a consulting setting. Alternatives worthy of discussion, cursory here, peripherally, 40,000-foot view. Alternatives are private placement opportunities in the private debt markets. Additionally, and very important, are annuities, contractually guaranteed income you can never outlive. But caution there too, not all annuities are created equal, nor are the insurance companies or agents. Annuities are critical though, if you're looking for safety, tax deferral, and a variety of income options that can never be outlived. They're very innovative these days due to competition and regulation. We'll talk about that in another lesson. There is much to know, and we will delve into this more deeply in lesson 4, income producing assets. And bucket number 4 in the Goots model is crypto. I'll approach crypto from 2 viewpoints. A little bit about blockchain and crypto, what it is, what we're moving into, whether we like it or not, and where potential investment opportunities may lie right now. So the following content is excerpted from my just published book, Global Financial Reset, Surviving and Thriving the Transition, available on Amazon, and was contributed by my good friend Josh Reed, who is available to the public via my resource network, which I will discuss later in lesson number 8. So let's discuss the infrastructure of the new financial system. Let's chip away at this just briefly here, the world of crypto right now. So in the wake of the collapsing legacy and financial architecture fueled by unsustainable debt, hyper-centralized control, opaque institutions, and growing distrust, humanity is witnessing the birth of an entirely new system. Nothing can stop what's coming. Just which side of the fence will you be on? One that runs not on trust, but on truth, not on fiat decrees, but on math. At the center of this transformation is blockchain technology and the cryptocurrency ecosystem, a parallel structure rising quietly at first, now roaring towards primacy, from parallel to primary. At its inception, blockchain-based systems like Bitcoin were dismissed as fringe or speculative years back, but quietly, decisively, these decentralized technologies have evolved into a parallel financial system, a sovereign alternative immune to the corruption, inflation, and surveillance that plague fiat currency. While the traditional financial order lurches toward systemic failure, make no mistake about that, the blockchain space is rapidly absorbing liquidity, trust, talent, and infrastructure. We are witnessing the second phase, where blockchain ceases to be an alternative and becomes the primary global settlement layer. Very important. Don't turn a blind eye. The global financial reset isn't just about erasing debt or restructuring central banks, which is happening. It's also about replacing the operating system of money itself. Blockchain as the foundation of the new system. Blockchain is not merely a database or ledger. It is truth layer of the emerging system, immutable, transparent, decentralized, and programmable. It resolves what legacy systems could not. Trust, and these are some of the things that it resolves. Trust without intermediaries. Instant settlement across borders. What does that translate to? When you wire money, for example, instead of the banks holding your money for 2, 3, 4 days or a week, making interest on your money, tying up your flow, settlements are instant in the blockchain world. Universal access to capital and ownership. Automated, enforceable, smart contracts, and much more. So as this infrastructure scales, nation states, corporations, and individuals will all operate on chain. Every asset, every identity, every contract will be anchored to the substrate. You can view the shows Global Financial Reset, we just call it GFR, by visiting James C. Broadcasting's archives and by visiting my Rumble channel for the past episodes, or simply tune in every week live Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, where I bring on experts and we keep everyone up to date on what's happening. Whether we agree with a digital currency or not, there's no stopping what is coming. It's time to get educated and begin to take advantage of a potential tremendous opportunity for growth from an investing standpoint we're talking about now, as well as understanding of the crypto blockchain stablecoin world, so that we are prepared when the Trump administration officially ushers in this new system. So you can prepare right now through the education, through group coaching, which I'll be conducting, and private wealth coach consults that I offer. So the Goots model deals with just what the acronym stands for: get out of the system, and addresses aspects of life and living beyond the financial, because many of the aspects of the systems we're trapped in aren't working. We're going to talk about that now. The Goots model also attempts to rattle the cages and shake the trees with the attempt to again move us away from our habits and fixed non-optimal conditions. It's a sort of roadmap, putting up not only the signs, but also the guardrails for safety, but a clear and concise path to your ultimate destination. This includes, but is not limited to, doing one's own research, changing from whom you are getting your information from, as we discussed in the advisor scorecard, for example, and surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals who have expertise in the area you need help in, with similar ideology and worldview, and then seeing if the principles are sound and indeed biblical. Surrounding yourself with people who have expertise in the area you need help in or guidance provides the needed support. Due to the present dangers not fully subsided yet by any stretch, in fact, the worst is yet to come in this transition. Yet in the world around us, Goots also addresses preparedness as we explore various levels of preparedness in the event of disturbances of sorts, and they're coming. In fact, retired brigadier generals, retired 3-star generals, retired lieutenant colonels, intelligence people, and PhD and economic experts that I speak to are all alerting us of this. So get out of the system? Is that what I'm talking about? You bet. How about the healthcare system? I strongly recommend you pick up a copy at Amazon.com, Genocide Jab, Vaccines, Villains, and Victims. It's an Amazon bestseller back in the day in the medicine and science categories. I authored the book and published it in the height of the deployment of the biological weapon, otherwise known as COVID. Yes, Goots addresses breaking free from this aspect of the matrix, health, to help get you on your way to understanding the incredible corruption for profits by big pharma and supportive NGOs and government programs and government entities, along with the fake news media stuffing their narrative down our throats with, quote, science, being blasted 24/7 from fake news media and social media platforms. Let's get down to brass tacks here. Let's take a look at these things and make correlations of the Bible and current issues that we're dealing with. Number one, we're in the exposure phase, or the unveiling, and prophecy tells us light must expose the darkness before the kingdom era. Bible. And so what are we looking at today? Mass declassification. Whistleblowers coming forward with testimony. Hidden crimes of governments, medical institutions, and global banking being revealed. Major figures are publicly exposed now. The Q operation told us at some point they won't be able to walk down the street anymore. We've hit that point. Trump is the central figure orchestrating this reveal through direct moves, covert military operations, and strategic communications. Second thing we're looking at here, making correlation to the Bible and present time, we're dismantling the beast system. Prophecy, Revelation 18, the global control structure collapses. So here we see that central bank dominance undermined, black market trafficking networks being dismantled, child sex trafficking, human trafficking, globalist alliances fractured, military and intelligence alliances carry out targeted takedowns behind the scenes. Trump directs the dismantling phase, removing power from those who profited off the enslavement of individuals and of nations. Another aspect to take a look at the correlation, the restoration of law and justice. Prophecy, Isaiah states, I will restore your judges as at the first, and your counselors as at the beginning. Today, we have true constitutional law being restored, corrupt judges being identified and removed, military tribunals operating in secrecy, soon to be public, a judicial system, and on that note, the soon to be public and following Gitmo, I have a show we just launched. We're doing our third episode. It's a monthly. Eyes on Gitmo. My featured guests are intelligence expert Juan O'Savin, military experts, retired Lieutenant Colonel Matt Meck, retired Marine of 20 years who spent some time at Gitmo overseeing tribunals back in 2004 off the heels of 9/11, as well as helping oversee the establishment of the new media that's going to be launched soon from Gitmo. Also on the Eyes of Gitmo, we have retired Brigadier General Blaine Holt, who's a regular contributor to Newsmax. He's a frequent guest, and we have a revolving guest. So you'll want to tune into Eyes on Gitmo to find out what's going to be happening there and what is happening there. But anyway, a judicial system aligned with God's order replaces the compromised, corrupt courts. That's why Gitmo is so active. Another aspect to look at in the correlation of the Bible and today is a global realignment. Prophecy Micah. Nations beat swords into plowshares and live in safety. Today we have sovereignty. First alliances replace global governance models. Peace treaties, 8 to date, President Trump has signed between former enemies and enemies fighting. War profiteering eliminated. Department of War. Nations begin trade and cooperation without IMF World Bank control. Another aspect to look at is the economic jubilee. Prophecy states debts forgiven, stolen property returned, economic reset in God's favor. Today, currency reset to asset-backed money. Global debt forgiveness being initiated, and we can elaborate on that in great detail as we've done in our GFR shows. Seized assets underway from corrupt elites redistributed to rebuild nations. 650 planes, either 450 or 650. I don't have the number before me, so I don't want to misstate it. Pick your number. Pallets, 450 planes filled with pallets of gold taken from the tunnels of the Vatican, as reported by well-established attorney Lin Wood and many others, these military and intelligence and economic experts. Ordinary citizens are going to be freed from the financial bondage. Another aspect of what's happening is related to prophecy, the kingdom era, pre-millennial reign. Prophecy, a God-appointed ruler, leads a time of peace and prosperity before the full millennial kingdom, foreshadowed in Old Testament kings and Cyrus in Isaiah 45. So today what we see, Trump's, in my opinion, the anointed and appointed one, won all 3 elections, truth be told. Trump governs during an era of global peace. prosperity, and restored freedom. This is the season of righteous governance and abundance. This is the dawning of the golden age. The mantle of the Prince of Peace rests on him for this appointed time, establishing God's order on earth. This is a battle between good and evil. God's on the throne. God always wins. This is the transition to the full millennial kingdom. Prophecy, Revelation 20, the 1,000-year reign of Christ, consciousness on earth. Today, what are we seeing? After Trump's appointed season, Christ's reign manifests in full. It's the beginning. The nations already aligned in righteousness enter seamlessly into the millennial kingdom, free from the grip of darkness, with peace and abundance secured. The dawning of the golden age is upon us. God always wins, and we are on God's side. So in my opinion, the next 120 days will be biblical. The events that are unfolding will escalate, and they will be epic. Expect the unexpected. And if it doesn't make sense, I understand that. If things don't make sense, just know everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. And if you need any help in making sense of the madness, follow my broadcast at jmcbroadcasting.com, military and intelligence experts. My weekend wartime reports at JMC Broadcasting keeps us up to date, they're 5 to 7 minutes long, on the successes we are having in this global defense war, en route to restoring fully our freedoms and constitutional republic our founding fathers sacrificed everything for. With the battles raging, we are witnessing the controlled demolition of the old deep state, global cabal, bankster financial system, while creating a new parallel system. In there lies the danger zone, which is what, in part, the contents of the masterclass addresses: surviving and thriving the transition of the global financial reset. Be sure to not only visit wealthcoachuniversity.com, but join us each week for the live GFR Global Financial Reset Show, live on various platforms. Visit jmcbroadcasting.com for my broadcasting schedule and published programming. So in conclusion here in this masterclass, lesson 2, in conclusion, things are changing, and that is good. And I am talking about the entire global financial system. This has begun now, and although, in my opinion, it may take a few years before it is fully in place, fully recognized, fully realized, fully in bloom, it is moving quite rapidly just the same. So surround yourself again with like-minded people who truly understand the times in which we live, and assemble a team of professionals who can guide you through the global financial reset so you not only survive the lurking dangers, but perhaps thrive until the new system is in place. After you have completed this masterclass, you can gain access to me personally for a private one-on-one wealth coach consult with me, along with gaining access to my valuable resource network of financial like-minded professionals. All patriots. It is most important to assemble the right team and at the right time. When is the right time? That time is right now. It's time. The Klaus Schwab World Economic Forum crowd and the deep state global cabal system, the globalista elite bankers, are fighting for their lives, fighting to retain control until their last dying breath. This transition we are in the middle of is in fact the danger zone. So what to do? It's pretty simple. Goots, get out of the system. Move from effect to cause. Do not get stuck in the other danger zone known as procrastination. Very important, so important, I'll address that subject in lesson 7, titled Action. So as I conclude lesson 2 in this masterclass series, the key takeaway is very simple. Get out of the system. When? Right now. All right, I'll see you over there in lesson 3.